Hello, this is Hannah Swanson, and today I'm going to show you how you can make graphs out of the data that you are given and how these graphs can make sense and you can get information and pull it out from them. And right now we're looking at the number of US daily births between 2000 and 2014. So we have a 15-year period and we're looking at the daily births that we're having. So the first question we're trying to figure out is to describe the distribution of the number of births per day and what factors could impact the shape. So in order to find that, we're going to put the day on the x-axis of the graph. And then we're going to put births on the y-axis. And this is once the graph gets. So right now this is a little confusing to look at, but we're going to show the count for all of these, and then we're going to put the information into bins, which is just going to make it easier for us to read. So when you're looking at this, you can tell that a lot of the weekdays especially have the same amount of births per day for every single day. Like there's not much variation going on. There's a little bit difference on the weekends, but from this information, we can't really tell. We can't pull out one day specifically and say that Monday had the most births throughout these 15 years because there's not enough data to show this. And that's kind of surprising for the data to show that a lot of the days have the same amount of births, but it just shows that there's not really any factors that go into what day a baby is born. It's just random and natural, and there's not much variation going on there. The second question that we're looking at is, are there any interesting patterns, trends, or anomalies in the frequency of births throughout a year, and what might be possible reasons that explain these features? So I'm going to go ahead and put births on the x-axis now, and then put month on the y-axis. And what you will see is that the 12th month, which is December, has a lot of births compared to every other month. It just has the most dots, which means that has the most data, which is the most births. And what we can conclude from that, which a birth takes a pregnancy takes maybe 9 to 10 months, and December is about 9 to 10 months after Valentine's Day. So if you take that, you could say maybe that's why there's a lot more births in December. And then October, there is quite a few compared to every other month. And you could look at that and say, well, it's around after the time that New Year's babies could be being birthed. So that's kind of why there could be more births for December and October. And other than that, there's not really much of a pattern going on here. That's about all that you could try and say is Valentine's Day and New Year's, but other than that, there's not really any patterns, which also isn't surprising because if there's no pattern for the days that the baby could be born on, then there isn't going to really be a pattern for what month the babies are born either. We can also look at day compared to month. And again, this graph looks like the same thing, copy and pasted, copy and pasted. And that's because, again, there isn't any true pattern for when a baby is going to be born, depending on what day or month. You can't predict it. It's going to be totally random, and there's not a correlation between the two. So yes, there's a ton of data here that we can be looking at, but the data isn't going to help you predict the future. So a lot of statistics is when you get data, you're trying to figure out, okay, well, if I only have one piece of it, what is the other piece going to be? But for this one, that's not going to be how it works. And you're not going to necessarily be able to figure it out. But those are the graphs for the number of US daily births, and that is all that I have.